JB Cycles with an update on August the 27th. So last week we did make some kind of a low at this 2-week oscillation low in my 4-week cycle, but I said I wouldn't trust any low here before we have passed this final low in my cycle. So we have a bearish bias from the cycle for the coming week, and if we start to gain momentum here, the market may ignore this bearish bias. We break some trend lines and we get a cascade of buying signals. But this cycle favors some kind of a bottom formation, some kind of a double low, or maybe a lower low, even a higher low. And if we go back and look at some similar situations, we see at this point we did have an ABC move, and although the cycle was bearish, we see we got a higher low. And at this point we did have some kind of a low here in the cycle, but the next low, it was more like a sideways move, a bit similar to what is going on right now. So yeah, a double low, a higher low is possible, but also a lower low. If we look at my cycles, these 3 cycles, they are all pointing down, and the composite of these 3 naturally is also pointing down to mid-September. So this is a big warning sign that don't trust any rallies yet. If you look at my daily wavelets, the yellow one suggests we did have an ABC move going down, and my minimum target, the 50-day moving average, was met, and I rather expected this moving average to be the target, and we have reached that one. So yeah, I don't have any obvious new targets, unless if we look at this resistance or support level from August last year at around 4,300, that may be a target for another leg down. But my yellow wavelet here, it may start to roll over and go back down again. Often this one correlates with the 2-week oscillation, or so the yellow one would be these 2 oscillations, and it's kind of topping right now, just as this 2-week oscillation is topping, and it could roll over and go down. So no clear edge here, I would say. It's a bit like anything could happen, but after this possible low late coming week, after that it would suggest some kind of up move. And this doesn't look very bearish. If we look at this big trend channel, we see we are way up here, or in the middle of the channel. No danger of any serious breakdown here. So there's a low coming up here, and we should expect probably some kind of attempt to rally up to the previous top. Let's see what's next. In red I have my 7-year cycle, and from around October it starts to get really bullish. And in green, from the green cycle, the 40-week cycle, I was expecting a 40-week cycle low and a 20-week cycle low around this point. And this pullback does qualify as such a low, but it still may go deeper. Also, I have a gut feeling that we are in a ABC bull market ending late next year, and this A move, it may be over already. If that's the case, we won't rally up. Well, we could make some kind of a double top, or a bit higher. Maybe the A move isn't over like this blue analog. So it's very possible we could rally up and then make a big small ABC correction move into the spring. So yeah, just speculating. From the hourly data, here I have in orange the 2-week oscillation. So somewhere here we started a new 2-week oscillation, and the action so far is not bullish, it's sideways, and we see we are around the midpoint of the cycle, so we should or could start rolling over to see a low around the end of the coming week. However, my wavelets here, I don't like this. I can't see a clear setup. Well, if we look at the purple one, that's the one I mostly look at. It looks like kind of it wants to rally for the coming 2-3 days, but I wouldn't trust that. It may morph into something else. You see, like back here we had an irregular form, and this may morph into something irregular. Often we have these nice harmonic oscillations, and then sometimes it's a mess. So I don't like the setup, but there's a lot of things suggesting some kind of a downside into the end of the coming week. I think the job numbers are on Friday. Well, I think mostly that was it. Just to look at the seasonal variation in blue, and it is rather bearish into early October. If we go back in time here, early summer, I was talking about a possible topping formation, some kind of a double top. We didn't get that, but we did get some kind of a topping formation. You know, this down move was more like a sideways move, and then we had this up move, and now, yeah. So my cycle is kind of bearish into this point, mid-September, but the seasonal variation is even more bearish. But yeah. So some kind of a low here. I think this is a bit too early. Mid or early September. My 4-week cycle suggested early September, but you know, you could always have another bearish 4-week cycle, and then suggesting a low around end of September, early October. That would be supported from the seasonal variation. However, my cycles, well, you know, although the cycles suggest a low mid-September, early October, you know, the low could be late. You see, the quarterly cycle has a low late September, so one of these cycles may be more dominant than others, and then we have the 4-week cycle. The 4-week cycle has a low here or here. Oh, anyway, so if this gets even more bearish, it's quite possible that the low is later than this coming week, early September. It could be a late September or early October even. Or we could have a low in the middle of the 4-week cycle. You see, there are so many options here, possibilities. You know, at this low, that's around here, that's around mid-September. So the low could be here, it could be here, it could be there. You don't see the cycle here, but you know, you can extend it. But we have finished something that looks like an ABC pullback. We have reached my minimum targets, so could also very well just rally from here. It's a bull market, and you know, you should expect more upside. See ya!